ABC 10 News at 11 starts now.
Your voice, your vote. Tonight, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris faced off in their first and only debate before the November election. Good evening. I'm Kimberly Hunt.
And I'm Steve Atkinson. It was a stark contrast from last week's presidential debate. ABC's Zareen Shah has the highlights.
Senator Kamala Harris and Vice President Mike Pence faced off at the first and only vice presidential debate. Separated by 12 feet and 2 plexiglass barriers, sparring over the Trump administration's handling over the coronavirus.
They knew and they covered it up. The president said it was a hoax.
But Vice President Pence making the case that the virus would have been far worse had it not been for President Trump's actions.
President Donald Trump did what no other American president had ever done. And that was he suspended all travel from China, the second largest economy in the world. Now, Senator Joe Biden opposed that decision.
At moments, the debate growing tense.
And I want to add, but Mr. Vice President, I'm speaking. I'm referring
the reality,
to
if I may finish, Senator.
The moderator pressing the vice president, the head of the White House COVID task force, about what appeared to have been a super spreader event at the White House, where Trump appeared days before he tested positive for the virus.
Many of the people who were at that event, Susan, actually were tested for coronavirus, and it was an outdoor event.
Harris fighting back, saying the Trump administration's actions have been incompetent.
Whatever the vice president is claiming the administration has done, clearly it hasn't worked. When you're looking at over 210,000 dead bodies in our country.
Harris and Pence also sparring over Trump's taxes.
We now know Donald Trump owes and is in debt for $400 million. And just so everyone is clear, when we say in debt, it means you owe money to somebody.
And the president said those public reports are not accurate. And the president's also released literally stacks of financial disclosures.
Both using every opportunity to paint the other as being more hurtful to American families.
Joe Biden believes you measure the health and the strength of America's economy based on the health and the strength of the American worker and the American family. On the other hand, you have Donald Trump, who measures the strength of the economy based on how rich people are doing.
Joe Biden says democracy's on the ballot. Make no mistake about it, Susan. The American economy, the American comeback is on the ballot.
Both the men at the top of the ticket weighing in as well. Donald Trump tweeting, Mike Pence is doing great. She is a gaffe machine. Biden weighing in also saying Kamala Harris is showing the American people why I chose her as a running mate. She's smart, she's experienced, and she'll make an incredible vice president. Zareen Shah, ABC News, Salt Lake City.
After the debate, we spoke with Dr. Kira Green with the Center on Policy Initiatives about each of the candidates' best moments. She begins with Senator Harris.
Her discussion about the economy, I think, drawing a stark contrast between the framing of Joe Biden as the person who looks out for families and everyday people, and President Trump being a person who judges the economy based on how well it does for rich people. I think Vice President Pence's best moments come when he's talking about foreign policy. I thought it was a particularly astute choice because it both placed strongly to the image that the president puts out as a very strong man who takes strong positions. And it also plays well in a moment where Americans are afraid of many things, but due to COVID, they're not so much afraid of the foreign policy threats, the terrorism threats that dominated in the past.
Right now, President Trump and Joe Biden are still scheduled to square off in their second debate next Thursday. If it happens, we'll carry it live on ABC 10.
San Diego County is working on a plan to address the state's newest COVID-19 metric for a safe reopening. Our ABC 10 News reporter Anthony Pura breaks down what the new metric will mean for the county to move into a less restrictive tier.
San Diego County is working on a plan to address health equity, the state's newest COVID-19 metric for a safe reopening.
We are focusing on those areas where communities have decreased resources.
San Diego County health officials have another metric to monitor on its road to reopening more sectors of the county. Since California released its new tiered reopening system, case rates and positivity rates have determined what and how businesses should open and operate. San Diego County's current state calculated adjusted case rate is 6.5 daily new infections per 100,000 people, putting the county in the substantial or red tier. This is the tier that allows many indoor operations to be open, though at a limited capacity. San Diego County needs the case rates below 3.9 and maintain that for 2 weeks before it's allowed to move into orange or moderate and allow businesses to operate with less restrictions. The county's positivity rate is at 3.5. That metric already meets the criteria for the orange tier. In addition, the state added a health equity metric. This is new. The metric won't be a factor in moving San Diego County to a more restrictive tier, but it will play a role in moving it to a less restrictive tier. The metric focuses on disadvantaged communities and the risk to COVID-19. The state looked at several factors that influence health in communities, including economics, education, transportation, social, neighborhood and environment, and housing conditions. San Diego County's current equity metric is 6.2, which puts it in the red. That number needs to drop below 5.2 to meet the orange tier criteria. The county has to submit a health equity plan to the state by next Thursday. They are expecting guidelines from the state on Monday. County officials say since the pandemic started, they've been paying attention to communities that may have limited resources, but say more can still be done.
And so what we're fighting against is generations of folks not having access to health care. What we're fighting against is an environment that was created pre-COVID where a lot of communities in San Diego don't trust government agencies and government entities. And so I think it is certainly possible that we can make it better.
Anthony Pura, ABC 10 News.
Hurricane Delta is inching closer to making landfall in the U.S. ABC 10 News weather anchor Jennifer De La Cruz is tracking the storm for us this evening. Hi, Jen.
Hey, Kimberly, the storm has actually gotten stronger since our last newscast. So it is now, once again, a Category 2 storm, and it's only going to continue strengthening and growing from here on out as it's pushing through the warm waters of the Gulf of Mexico. So Hurricane Delta now a Category 2 storm with winds gusting at 100 miles per hour. As we track this out for you, it's going to grow and strengthen to a Category 3 storm before dropping right back down to Category 2 as it makes landfall into the Louisiana area, and that's going to happen on Friday. Pushing up to the Ohio River Valley, bringing lots of rainfall there. And we have some rainfall in our forecast as well, although not as much. I'm going to be tracking all of that coming up in your 7-day forecast.
We'll see you then. A local family is hoping to make their way home from Mexico tomorrow after having to ride out the hurricane at the hotel where they were staying. Our ABC 10 News reporter Laura Acevedo spoke to the family who says they tried to leave days ago.
The family had successfully booked a flight out of Cancun before the hurricane made landfall, but it was canceled on their way to the airport.
Going back to our room.
This is video from local business owner Victor Lopez after spending the night inside a hotel ballroom in Playa del Carmen riding out Hurricane Delta.
Which was a little bit safer, but you know, it's a little bit more uncomfortable as well because there was a lot of people in there crammed up.
Lopez and his family have been in Mexico since last week.
Worried. Me as a dad, I was just worried for my kids and my wife, not for me. If I gotta go, I gotta go.
The ballroom had no windows, so the family could only hear the storm as it passed through.
So we didn't actually see anything because there was no windows in that big ballroom. We heard the wind. There was a lot of wind, a lot of rain.
Despite COVID-19 concerns, Lopez says his family felt safe, praising the work of the hotel staff, disinfecting bags, shoes, and taking temperature checks frequently.
99% of people were with masks, and they had the actual disinfectant gel throughout the whole place.
The hurricane did little damage to the resort, but just 45 minutes away in Cancun's hotel zone, a different story. Debris and palm fronds filling the streets. Lopez and his family are now hoping to head back to San Diego on Thursday as Hurricane Delta continues towards the U.S.
They came and boarded certain areas of the hotel around. They did an excellent job.
Laura Acevedo, ABC 10 News.
A magical season for the Padres is hanging by a very thin thread after a Game 2 thriller against the Dodgers. Our ABC 10 News sports director Ben Higgins is live with the drama and the heartbreak tonight that happened in Texas. Ben.
Yes, Steve, the Padres put together one of their signature late-game rallies, only to fall short by the smallest of margins. Zach Davies gave the Padres their longest starting pitching outing of the postseason, but still surrendered 4 runs in 5 innings. Cody Bellinger's leadoff home run in the 4th gave the Dodgers a 4-1 lead. Padres answered back against Clayton Kershaw in the top of the 6th. Manny Machado down the line in left field. A solo home run to make it a 4-2 game. Next up, Eric Hosmer, and he lifts one high and deep to right field, and it carries out for back-to-back home runs. Padres within 1. Next inning, and a chance to take the lead with Fernando Tatis Jr. at the plate. Maybe the biggest moment of the series. Deep to center. Bellinger leaps and robs Tatis of a go-ahead 2-run homer. Huge celebration from reliever Brusdar Graterol. Down 6-3 in the 9th. The Padres had one more rally with Mitch Moreland and Trent Grisham driving in runs to make it 6-5. Came down to Eric Hosmer with the bases loaded, and the grounder to second base ends it. A heartbreaker for the Padres, who lose 6-5 as the Dodgers take a 2-0 lead in the series. And that makes tomorrow's game a must-win for the Padres to keep their season alive. Jace Tingler named Adrian Morejon as his starting pitcher. Padres will need to take 3 straight from the Dodgers to advance to the NLCS. We'll hear from some players talking about that challenge ahead in sports. I'm Ben Higgins, ABC 10 News.